Hey everyone, this is Jack from Victory Camera, and today I'm discussing macro photography. Macro photography is just extreme close-up photography, often of very tiny subjects, where the subject is rendered at larger than life size in the final image. If you've ever tried to snap a picture of a cool insect or the inside of a flower, you've probably realized that macro photography requires some specialized equipment, but not necessarily a whole new lens. There are several options for shooting macro, from magnifying filters to an entire Bellows system like this. I'm not really qualified to explain the physics, but the most important concept is something called reproduction ratio. This is essentially the size of the subject on the film or digital sensor relative to its size in real life. The closer your lens can focus to a subject, the larger it'll be in the frame. A true macro lens has a reproduction ratio of 1:1 or higher, meaning that that insect or the inside of that flower will be rendered at life size or larger in the final image. Most macro lenses don't actually reach that 1:1 ratio, but they still produce great results. All you need to worry about is focusing really close and learning how shooting macro alters the rules of photography. Mainly by compressing the scale so much, your depth of field will appear much shallower. This means you'll have to stop down in order to keep things in focus, and that means adding more light. Another reason that adding light is super important is because a lot of these accessories will remove stops of light. So these bellows will be darkening your image significantly and require a lot more light blasted in there to get a good exposure. You can compensate with a higher ISO, or only shooting in broad daylight or on a tripod, or by throwing in a flash or a continuous light to bump things up a bit and make things easier on yourself. Now let's talk about equipment. The most obvious and versatile option is a macro lens, like this Nikon 60mm f2.8. I love this lens, and it's actually the same one we use for product photography here at Victory Camera. The benefit of a macro lens is that they'll still function for normal shooting and often come in normal lengths like 60 or 55mm, but will allow you to focus super close, in some cases achieving that 1:1 reproduction ratio. Generally speaking, a lens won't be the most affordable option. On the cheaper end, we have reversal rings like this Nikon BR2. It has a mount on this side and filter rings on this side, so you screw the lens on the front. By mounting the lens backwards, you turn it into sort of a magnifying glass. I'm not exactly sure how this works, but I tend to think of it like looking through binoculars backwards. Next, we have close-up filters or diopters like this Nikon CloseUp No. 2, which is a 3.0 diopter. That just refers to the amount of magnification. These are basically just like screwing a magnifying glass onto the front of your lens. There are also extension tubes like this Nikon E2, and these function by moving the rear element of your lens farther away from the sensor, allowing closer focus. You can buy several of these and stack them together to increase your magnification. Finally, if you want to get really close, you can't beat a Bellows system like this Nikon PB5. These allow you to get the rear element of the lens super far from the film or sensor, allowing really close focus. These are really fun to play with, and if you want to go even farther, you can use that Nikon BR2 reversal ring to mount your lens backwards on the Bellows as well. Bellows like these are still cheaper than a macro lens, but they're getting up there at around $150. If you want to get serious about macro though, they really can't be beat for getting close, and I definitely recommend trying them out. If you just want to play around with macro and give it a shot, I recommend picking up a close-up filter or two and maybe some extension tubes, which, like I said, you can stack on top of each other or mix and match with the close-up filters. A reversal ring is also a good affordable option if you just want to have the option to shoot macro when the mood strikes, but don't want to invest in a lens. A macro lens isn't necessarily a bad investment though, because it'll just be adding another one to your kit that can still function for normal everyday shooting, but gives you that close focus option when you need it. No matter what you choose, the world of macro is really fun to explore and can open up a lot of possibilities for turning the everyday items in your house or your yard into something really interesting to look at. You can find all of these accessories at our website, victorycamera.com, or come into our store in Boulder and try them out for yourself. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.